Recording in progress.
Everybody, welcome to That's Good Stuff. Happy New Year. It's now 2024, but we're going to go back in time and talk about 2023 as we list our favorite top 10 movies of the year. If you've seen our top 10 list before, you know we usually start from 10, talk about it, and then go to 9, talk about it, and just keep doing that. So we all take turns. It's nice. So this year was a weird year for movies. I'm pretty happy with my top ones, but at the bottom they could be interchangeable. I probably could go put new ones in there. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with the list I have, or it's gonna drive everyone crazy. So I guess I'll start, and then we'll go in a circle on my screen, I guess. Everyone's screen is different. So my number 10 is Pinball, the Man Who Saved the Game.
I forgot about that movie. Didn't see it though.
So this
was a
was
good
on
movie.
Hulu. Pretty good little docudrama. And you will see this main character again, this actor. He's in that Bike Riders movie, so you get to see him without the mustache.
Really? Is it
was-
weird?
Yeah. He looks like him. So yeah, this movie is just a super enjoyable movie. I watched it with my family. Whenever I find family suitable movies, I usually tell them about it. And it's just one of those movies that everyone can enjoy. So that's my number 10. So on my screen, Michael is to my right. So let's talk to him.
My number 10, I watched just like 2 hours ago. Clicked on Peacock and watched The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti.
Oh, that's on there?
Yeah, they
Dang
just
it.
put it
I
on
haven't
there
watched that
recently.
yet.
It's kind of just a slow kind of ride the whole time. Nothing really crazy happens. It's just kind of the story of a very, very strict teacher who gets stuck over the Christmas break with a bunch of students, and then particularly one he spends a lot of time with, and they kind of just grow to learn and know each other, and they find similarities and stuff, and it's really heartwarming and also
It's odd when you
heartbreaking.
phrase it that way.
Huh?
It's odd when you phrase it that way.
Well, how'd I
Spends a
phrase
little
it?
more time with.
True.
Oh.
Gets I didn't want to spoil things, so deal with it.
Oh.
I had to make it sound weird, Jared. But
Did he
anyway,
kill the other ones?
yeah, they're all dead. It's actually a really dark murder movie.
Oh,
He's
nice.
He's like, you're the only one left now.
Weird thing.
Time to
though,
learn your lesson, little boy.
He's like Wonka. He just
True.
kills the students.
He puts them in
It's
chocolate and you eat them. You
Yeah.
eat the children. Weird thing though, halfway through the movie, like they don't mention it until probably 3/4 of the movie, but halfway through, I was like, is his eye off? Like a lazy eye? Like one eye was pointing this way. And I kind of was watching, like, it is off. So I Googled, I was like, just something happened to Paul Giamatti? Is his eye off? And they're like, it's something apart from the movie. And then there was like weird speculation of how he actually did it in the movie, like to make his eye go off. And I never actually found out what it was. It's like,
strange.
what, so his eye the whole movie is like completely off, but it's not actually
was
how
like-
his eye in real life is. Yeah, I'm like, did he just like
He's
tape it
that
to the
committed,
side?
that committed of a method actor. He's like, you know what? Just
But
got to get it to the side a little bit.
then the last thing I'll say is he has such a good voice. That dude has such a good voice. There's a part where he just like did this easy laugh. I was like, man, that was a really just small thing, but a very good little easy laugh. Anyway, really good.
If
movie.
you like dig down and find the answer, you should do a video saying what's up with Paul Giamatti's.
I watched an interview with him. And people are like, you're a very good actor. Like, what's your secret to like inhabiting these roles and being like such a talented actor? He's like, well, look at me. Like, I'm not going to get like very far on looks, so I have to be a really good actor.
Really good. All right. On my window order, Jonah is next. So Jonah, what is your number 10?
I had like a top 9 set for a while, and I kind of had to just like look and find for like a number 10. So I put one of the newest films I watched, which was Asteroid City, which me and you watched. And I didn't I didn't know what to think of this film at first, but I think what it kind of confused me is what I like about it is that it's unique from other films this year, and that does stuff like different, like the visuals, the way the story's told, and everything. just not like any other film you see this year, which I
Yeah.
really liked. And it has, a huge cast, which really helps it. I just think it could have been a little funnier like his other movies, because I thought this one was a little lighter in comedy from some of his other stuff, but overall it was a really good movie. So, yeah.
Excellent. So next on my screen, I have Thomas. What's your number 10, Thomas?
My number 10 is Gran Turismo.
I forgot about
I really
that
like
one.
this. I really like this movie, and I'm actually contemplating getting the game and see if I can get into it. But I also want to be careful about that because apparently it is highly addicting, and people sink a lot of money into this game.
I just
and
want
then-
a real wheel. I want a racing wheel for it.
Well, that's the thing is that I've heard people like once are like the controllers just if you really want to be good, you have to get a full setup. I'm like, that's like $500. He's like, yeah. And then you have to get a better chair because it has to be more ergonomical.
Might as
You
well
know,
just get a car.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, just go drive, man. But it looks really cool, and I really liked this movie. On just it was kind of a by the numbers movie, but I remember that one turning point, and spoilers for everything we talked about. We did have a podcast about it, but the tragedy that happens that comes out of nowhere and it actually affects you. You're like, wow, that actually kind of hurts. And so, very good movie. Liked it a lot. So,
Is there a Gran Turismo on PS5?
Gran Turismo 7.
7.
Hmm.
And that thing still won't go down in price. It's still like $80.
I got it
So-
for like 30 in the summertime.
What?
Ooh, summertime gaming.
Oh, summertime gaming. So,
Yeah.
well, that's the things I was hoping it'd be on the flash deals for Christmas, but it
Nope.
won't go down. So,
All right, Nicholas Pickles.
I didn't even read his name until now.
What you got?
It was a real battle for number 10. This was the hardest decision. It was either Megan or it's what's actually number 10 is Cobweb, which was recommended to me by RLM.
Just making a
Mm-hmm.
bunch
Mike
of
from
words right
there, Mike from there really recommended it, and so I gave it a shot. It just has
mean
great.
Joseph in Another Body. So,
No, because Mike's a lot.
What?
He's a lot more cynical, I guess. It has a lot of atmosphere. If it wasn't rated R, which I don't know why it needed to be, just for those F words, which you really don't need. It could have been a great like kids horror movie, like Monster House or something like that. But yeah, it was just a great horror film.
It's kind of how I felt about the Holdovers, because it's kind of like a Christmas New Year's movie, but the kids are saying the F words the whole thing. It's kind of the only really thing that gets it rated R. I'm like,
like that one scene in Planes, Trains, and
Yeah.
Automobiles. It's like, oh, a wholesome family moment, and then just like 30 F words come out of Steve Martin's mouth.
It's just an 80s family movie.
Yeah, but that's great though. That's real life. You ever see your dad talk to somebody at the airport? That is real life.
All right, so we are going to number 9. And my number 9 was my number 10, but then I switched them. So my number 9 is No One Will Save You. So it's another Hulu movie. And we talked about this on bonus stuff on one of the episodes, and I was the only one that really liked it, but I did like it.
I really liked it.
Oh, Jonah, yeah, you weren't on that one, but you liked it
Yeah.
too. It's not on your list, right?
No, that would probably be like number 11 or 12 for me.
Okay, since I already talked about it once, what did you like about it?
It's mostly the ending.
You
That
like
just-
the ending?
It just like took a very weird and like out of the box ending and just went all the way with it. Because I don't feel like I see that a lot nowadays. But they was just so committed to that. And the rest is good, but it's more of just the average like kind of home thriller kind of. And it is impressive how they do it with like almost no dialogue throughout the movie, but I think it did
Mhm.
work for the movie. And yeah, so that's
All
mostly
right.
I thought it was just I love the ending.
Yeah, I really liked the no dialogue, and it was just a fun little summer movie, I guess.
Mhm.
And Jared hated it. Okay, so Michael's number 9.
This was also I did the same thing Joseph did. I swapped them. But before I did, I had a question because Jonah mentioned that he had 9 set and he had to find a 10th. Did you have more or less than 10, Joseph, set in?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Technically
Oh,
everyone.
me. Oh, I had 10 and then I just.
Hmm. 'Cause
You switched the bottom two.
I had like
Yeah.
18 at first that I had to I had to dwindle
Oh,
down.
yeah. On my original list, yeah, it was like 20 something.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, I gotta get rid of that. I gotta get rid of that. Dang it. But yeah, my number 9 was this back in February, I think, the Pale Blue Eye.
Mm.
Eyes
Oh, I forgot
with,
about that.
Dude, I
Christian
forgot
Bale.
about that movie.
Wait, that
Me
was this
too.
year?
That was this
Yeah.
year, man. I was scrolling through. I
That
was
was
like,
like-
what the heck?
That was like one of our last House 6 ones, right?
It was. I don't remember. I have no
I
idea.
don't
But it was.
remember.
I really enjoyed the mystery of that movie and like the vibe and how it was shot and everything. It was just really cool movie. So I had to throw it on here. So yes, that's my number 9.
Number 9. Jonah, you're number 9.
Okay, I'm not gonna take long at all because I literally just talked about this one in a video, but it's Error.
Oh
and
yeah.
it's just, again, it's a by the numbers kind of like biopic, but it does everything it needs to perfectly, pretty much. And the cast is great in it, so the music's great. It's just, you kind of know what you're getting into with it, but it's just done like extremely well. And so yeah, that's it.
Cool. Thomas, number 9.
No, oh,
Uh,
Jared.
So I didn't know Pale Blue Eye was on there. That might have been my number 9, but since Michael talked about it and I forgot that it was on this year, I'm gonna do The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Was probably my number 9. Really liked that one. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a cool premise. Made me read Dracula again, which I really enjoy doing. And a surprise guest appearance by Michael, Alex, and a bunch of other people in the
Oh,
movie theater
I was like, what are you
when
talking
I was
about?
watching it.
Oh, yeah, you guys like surprised him or something?
Well,
Just didn't even
I
know
was
he
sitting
there.
I was sitting below them, and I didn't know that they were there. And then, like when the movie stops, I get like a kick to the back of my chair. I'm like, "What the hell?" And it's Michael. I'm like, "When did you get in here?" And so yeah, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Not the best movie, but it was a cool premise, and I really enjoyed the movie itself. So, Nicholas Pickles, you're a go.
My number 9 was Creed 3.
That was this year? Wow.
This was one of my most anticipated movies. It didn't quite hit the mark, but it was a good boxing movie. It was a good Creed movie. I always look forward to like the training montage. It just wasn't. It was cool seeing that one dude, Jonathan Majors, or is that his name?
Yeah.
And how huge that guy was and like what he was doing, but it was a little disappointing. So that's why it's not as high on my list.
Interesting.
Kind of a bad guy in real life now.
All right. So number 8 on my list is Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. So this was surprising. I didn't go into this one expecting much, but it was a very good war drama. It dealt with a topic that I think is only going to be dealt with more, but he was first, so I guess he set the bar for Afghanistan dramas. So yeah, it's not like super actiony or anything like that, but it's more of the drama that elevates it than the special effects or anything like that. Especially the relationship between Jake Gyllenhaal's character and the character of the interpreter, the Afghan interpreter. So yeah, that was very good. And
I was surprised on how well he conveyed military terms and like relationships. Because you go in and he like highlights everything about who people are, what their duties are, and so nobody's lost.
And the movie helps you too with a lot of terminology and stuff. It throws it up there for you.
Also, how expensive getting people out of there is. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a whole drama that takes place outside of Afghanistan. So yeah, check it out if you are into war movies and dramas like that. So Michael, you're number 8.
My number 8. Well, first I did Google what Paul Giamatti, his response to people asking about the eye is, he said he's been sworn to secrecy.
Oh no! So now you really have to get to the
So-
bottom.
Get that
of it.
story,
It was some
Michael.
sort of thing. My number 8 was actually surprising. It was this low. Was Killers of the Flower Moon with Martin Scorsese, because it's like it's an excellent movie, but it's not one I've thought about a lot afterwards. Which is kind of what I've gone through this list a lot. I'm like, what did I think about? Which is kind of funny because number 2 I forgot was this year. But anyway, yeah, it was just one that it's just kind of a masterclass in it, and like in that moment and having his like I said whenever we reviewed it, like him just building that world, you just feel like you're in it for so long, especially for how long the movie is. But didn't reach too high on my list, but definitely one of the top ones this year for me.
Jonah.
My number 8 is the Mario movie.
It's dang.
Because just if you're a Mario fan, you have to. And
True.
just it is mostly just fan service, but it does it so well when
Yeah.
it integrates it into the story, and it doesn't feel like it's either just like fan service for adults or just like kids movie. It kind of services both, kind of. And I'm not gonna like say it's like a masterpiece or anything, but it is a very fun movie for families. It's a good animated movie of the year. So yeah.
My nephews will not stop watching it on repeat over and over again. It's awesome.
Sweet. Thomas, number 8.
My number 8 is Dungeons and Dragons. A really fun movie, and honestly, it's kind of a love letter to people who like Dungeons and Dragons and that kind of world. And the fact that they actually took this movie not seriously, but as a serious project. I mean, they still had fun with it. There's a lot of Easter eggs, and it's a genuinely funny movie. But that's part of like what makes Dungeons and Dragons fun, is just kind of goofing off and see what you can do in the world. And Chris Pine is amazing as a bard. I mean, I think the man is probably just a real bard in real life. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, and the fact that they took this much time and effort to do it is it's good to see, because you see that one Dungeons and Dragons movie with Jeremy Irons that's just like, oh Lord, from like the 2000s. That was terrible. So, but yeah.
And
That's
Fat
it.
Dragon.
They did have
Forgot
the
about the Fat Dragon.
big Chungus dragon in there. So
Adorable.
Jared.
My number 8 is a return to the series is Saw X. Michael was delighted to actually see this in theater. But no, if you're a Saw fan, it was a good return. I know all of them are dumb, but like these last few are really stupid. Like Spiral and Jigsaw, just terrible. And then this one is to have like a pretty good story and then like good traps. Really, I don't know. It was really fun for like a Saw fan, and really fun for Michael.
That's
There
my
you go,
number 1,
Michael.
Jared. Obviously.
All right, so we are at number 7, and my number 7 keeps it with the drama, and it's The Iron Claw, which we just reviewed not too long ago. Fantastic acting, very good music, very good cinematography. It's probably just not higher just because it doesn't have much rewatchability, I think.
Mhm.
It is kind of a downer of a movie. But the performances are great. They knocked it out of the park, especially the main character. What's his name? Zac Efron.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his real name.
Kevin?
Or that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my number 7. So go ahead, Michael.
My number 7 was The Killer with Michael Fassbender. It's just surprised how much I enjoyed this movie. I loved it. It just felt like such a different movie. It was like a mixture of like old kind of like a spy thriller movie like Bourne Identity or something, but just with a weird, unique twist that I enjoyed, just like being in his perspective the whole time, just the things he had to deal with. I don't know. I feel like it's very creative and kept my attention for sure, just being kind of a fresh take on that kind of genre. So definitely stuck out to me this year. Liked it.
Sweet. Jonah, number 7.
This is gonna make Michael mad. It's Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
That's not even on my list. Oh yeah,
I know.
oh,
That's
yeah,
why I said
Dang.
yeah.
this is probably just the most pure fun movie of the year, which I need in like summertime. You need that kind of like just straight action movie kind of. Um, like because I like not every movie needs to be like this art, like experimental like art film kind of, or really like go that far with everything. It just needs to be fun sometimes, like especially as for a summer blockbuster movie. But it's still it's still made great. The cinematography is great. The stunts, of course, because Tom Cruise. And yeah, just I always need a
Yeah.
movie like this every year, and I can't.
I
get it for
remember
just a year
having a lot
anymore.
of fun when I came out of the theater. I was all jazzed, and then Michael
Yeah,
gave his
and then
review,
Michael
and I
dashed
was
everyone's.
sad.
Yeah. But I don't want to, but I need to rewatch that movie for sure.
You
All
need
right.
like a movie like this in the summertime, and Marvel's not
Yeah.
giving this to us, so I guess
Hmm.
Tom Cruise will.
All right, Thomas.
So my number 7 is The Boy and the Heron. I thought I would like this more than I did, but on a Miyazaki scale, it kind of ranks a little low for me. But I did enjoy like the art style, of course, and I think the best part was the voice acting, honestly, especially out of Robert Pattinson. That was probably the crown jewel of the movie. But yeah, a little disappointed, but it was still a good watch. So, Nick, pick.
Nick Pickles. My number 7 was the Iron Claw as well. Much like Joe said, there's not much rewatchability, but it was a great experience in the theater. Um, and yeah, it's just a lot more dramatic than I thought it was going to be because I had no intent, like expectations going in. I didn't even know what it was about, and then just a lot of drama hitting you. And then I like to think that filming this was probably fun, just a bunch of dudes getting jacked and just working out. So
More than
yeah,
Jack. They were monsters.
that's me.
That's you? All right. So we are at number 6. And my number 6 movie is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Like Jonas said, this was awesome for an old Nintendo fanboy like me to go see. I recently watched it again, and this time I just enjoyed the story. I wasn't because the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, I got to see all the Nintendo stuff they cram into it, all the fan service. But this time I kind of just watched it and just for the story, and it was still good. I liked it. It held up, I will say, on the second rewatch. So that is my number 6, and you can go, Michael.
Yeah, I feel like with the Mario movie, the more I rewatch it, like because we spent a whole week with our nephews in Colorado this past week, like the more I rewatch it, I'm like, this movie's really freaking good. It didn't make my list, but it's really freaking good.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's wrong.
I'm leaving.
All right, now before I upset you guys even more, my only reasoning for this to be here is because of the ending. That's the only reason. It would be higher without it, but that just sticks in my brain every time I think about it. But Godzilla -1, the ending is the only thing. It's the only thing that brings it down here for me.
It's not on your list.
It's number 6.
Oh,
But it's that low because the ending
The
just the ending sticks in my brain. I'm like, that's all I think about. I'm like, I want to think about the cool parts. I want to think about them fighting with the ships and everything. But the ending just bops in my brain. So I'm like, I had it number 3, and I just got bumped down as I went. And I'm like, dang it. But and so yeah, so Godzilla -1, obviously awesome. Story was so good, like we've talked about before. But yeah, just that ending though. Just that ending. That's okay though.
All right, Jonah, let us down again, I guess.
That last man, his term really like broke my heart.
mine. I'm also surprised got this low. But it's Tetris. And
Was that this year? That was.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
I didn't see it on my list when I was looking through it.
Yeah, that was one of our
This-
first.
this is one of those movies you see and you're like, did they just make this for me? Because it's like kind of the music and the way everything looks. It's just like this is what I like from movies, kind of this kind of movie. And what it does great is it's a very funny movie, but it's also very like intense when it needs to be, and because it's a crazy story like that actually happened, and they told it extremely well for what it needed to be. It's just a movie about Tetris, but yeah, this was a very fun movie and very surprising. So yeah.
All right. Thomas, number 6.
Weirdly enough, my number 6 is Godzilla -1. So it's almost the exact same ranking. But yeah, pretty much for the same reasons. The ending wasn't my favorite. Kind of a weird, I guess on a 180, but it was going for a tone, and then the tone kind of shifted at the very end, and I wasn't sure why. So it just, I don't know, wasn't the greatest Godzilla movie for me, but I did enjoy it.
All right, Jared, I will punch you if you have Godzilla at number 6. So go ahead.
This might make you more upset. It's Oppenheimer.
Oh.
Like almost every Nolan movie, I like them, I enjoy them, I appreciate them. They're never my favorite. I do like how all his movies just make you make your anxiety go up because you're just like, what's gonna happen? Oh my god, you're just in your seat like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, it was a great movie. And it was, I mean, it's great, but it just wasn't, for me, it wasn't number one or higher on my list.
All right, so we are at number 5. My number 5 kind of surprised me because I didn't like the previous entry, but it is John Wick Chapter 4.
Same.
So this was fun. It might also be this high just because we saw it when we were on vacation. We had our annual brother vacation where we travel, and we were in Austin, and we saw this movie, and it was exciting and it was fun, and there's so balls to the walls action, as they say.
Just like seeing Morbius.
And so John Wick, it ended well, but
Maybe.
it's not the ending.
Yeah.
So I would have been happy with them just ending it there. But the fans demand more, so the fans get what they want. So that's my number 5.
Freaking
Michael, what is your
fans.
number 5?
My number 5 was The Boy and His Heron. I feel like I came out this higher than most people, but did I said his again, didn't I?
Yeah.
His.
Boy
Why do I
and
keep
his
saying
heron.
his? The boy and the heron.
All of
It's
us
his.
kind of went like,
It's his little heron. He goes away. I don't know why. I've been saying that since it came out. Anyway, yeah, just I feel like like I said when we reviewed it, it's one I really want to rewatch to try and pick out all the things he placed in it because there's just so much in that movie that I definitely missed and so much that I did catch. But love the art style, love just the weirdness of Ghibli and those weird movies. There's another one that I really wanted to put on. I was like trying to convince myself to put Suzume on the list. I really wanted to. I was like, man, I want this to be on the list so badly.
Was that this year?
That was this year.
Yeah.
But I
Really?
felt like it just,
dude, I forgot that was this year.
I felt like it just kind of missed a little bit for me. It's not as memorable. But so I wanted to definitely put The Boy and His Heron here because I love this movie. Loved it. But yes, that's my number 5.
Would you have if the heron would have stayed more menacing bird than
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman?
I mean, it was funny. It was a funny thing to see, but
Yeah.
it wore out the welcome kind of fast.
Yeah, I kind of wish that was like a separate character or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Because his menacing heron, when he's tapping at the window, that was actually kind of
It was
scary.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he turns into basically Paul Giamatti with wings, and so you're just like, it's not as scary.
That's crazy that's Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. Again, I still can't get over that.
I always thought he hated birds after the lighthouse. So.
At least that one specific bird, anyway.
All right, Jonah, where are we again? Number 5.
Yeah, same as you, John Wick 4.
Wow.
Yeah, just the reason you said it's rare that a 4th movie can compare to the first movie, and somehow this one did. And just the moment the action starts in this movie, my jaw will just drop because of how good it's filmed
Yeah.
and everything. But yeah, just mainly it's the best action I've seen all year, and probably of a couple years probably. And it did end the films in a very satisfying way, I thought. And it should just stop here,
Yeah.
I think. So yeah.
All right. Thomas, number 5.
Killers
Oh, 5, yeah.
5, yeah. Killers of the Flower Moon is my number 5. Again, not my most favorite Scorsese movie, but it's still, I think Michael puts like it's still a masterclass movie. Like it's just, I don't think there's anybody better than Scorsese living at the moment. And so, I mean, when you've been around for like 60 plus years, you kind of hone a craft pretty well. But yeah, there's just something about this movie that makes you kind of depressed, and just seeing what people are capable of and what they want to do to each other for no real good reason, really. And so, but very good movie, and a very interesting topic too. Made me read a lot more about this, these killings and stuff. So,
Jared.
All right, my number 5 is Tetris. This was just a huge surprise of how much I liked it. The funny bromance between the main character and the guy who made Tetris was just awesome. The music, the 3 versions of I Need a Hero. Yeah, it was just super fun. Tetris is one of my favorite games and just great.
Cool. So we have come to our top 4, and all my top 4 are pretty much movies that surprise me. So number 4 is Gran Turismo. I really loved it. Yeah, I
4.
really love that movie.
Wow.
It is kind of like, it's not as good as Ford versus Ferrari, but it's still kind of in that vein.
It's like
It's
his
still
little
kinda,
brother.
yeah, it's kind of scratched that itch, and it just you just love it. I mean, it's a sports movie. It's kind of a movie of guys overcoming the odds, and I love that kind of story. So it just got me pumped up, and I was speeding when I drove home.
So you watch this one with your brother. You watch Ford versus Ferrari with your dad.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what you do.
All right, Michael,
My
number
brother still hasn't seen
4.
Ford versus Ferrari, and I hate him for it. But
What?
Really?
I've been
he's an
trying for
idiot.
years to get him to watch it.
Alex has not seen Ford.
My
versus
dad hasn't
Ferrari?
actually either. I've been trying to get him to watch it too.
That's
Oh
like
my
doing, Michael.
goodness.
that is like a top 10
I'm trying,
like
guys. I'm
dad
trying.
movie.
Anyway,
Tell Alex I'll watch La La Land if he watches Ford versus
Hey.
Ferrari.
Wow.
this
That's not equivalent, Joseph.
here comes one of the 2 out of my top 4 that I totally forgot was this year. But Guardians 3 was just
Mhm.
like it was such a delight to go back to an amazing Marvel movie. And not only that,
Yeah.
but just like having that wrap up of the trilogy and all these characters that have been so well done throughout the thing. I feel like it was just satisfying, the whole thing. And like, I don't know. There's a tearjerker. It was hilarious. It was so well shot and done. The visuals are great. It's like the last masterclass of Marvel that we'll see, I think. For
Yeah.
a while, probably. But yeah, Guardians 3, excellent send off for all of them for sure.
Jonah, number 4.
My 4 is Oppenheimer.
Nice.
This film kind of did what I thought the Elvis film did horribly, but did it right, kind of. Was how you. It's a good way to put so many events in history together into a smallish film, kind of, and do it in like kind of rapid fire way. Because Nolan films aren't very like slow. The editing's very fast with them,
Mhm.
and he kind of mixes scenes together. Like there'll be 2 scenes going on at once. He always does that. And so I thought it did that well, kind of has a documentary feel to it very much. The bomb scene is probably my favorite, like one of my favorite scenes of the year because of how amazing that was on IMAX. Just the whole bomb going off and everything. The only thing was it does get to that high note in the middle of the movie, and then it's like an hour and a half of just like coming down from it,
Mhm.
which was a little disappointing because you don't feel like that great about it at the end, but it's still a great film. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely
And
that's
it
where
is
I thought the movie was going to end after that before going into it for sure.
it is also says something about Nolan where I gave this film like a 9 out of 10, and I'm like, it's not one of his best. Kind of. Like, it's still a great film, but it's not still he has so many great films that they just surpassed this one, kind of. So yeah.
Cool. Thomas.
I'm going to ignore what Jonah said about the what Elvis did badly. So anyway, so my number 4 is The Killer.
Oh, yeah.
I
I thought you said
really
you didn't like this movie.
I did like this movie.
You didn't like the ending. You're poo pooing
did-
all over it.
That's the ending. I didn't say I didn't like the whole movie though.
You're confusing me now. I'm so confused.
I had issues with the movie.
Well, we know you had issues, but I still like the movie as a whole, even though if I was not entirely convinced by the ending. But Michael Fassbender is great. The best part of this movie, I think, is the first 30 minutes of it. Just that the routine of it and the dialogue that he has with himself. And but yeah, I love David Fincher. And so seeing another one of his movies on this seeing another one of his movies is really great for me. I will never get over that fight scene though, because that is one of the worst things that could ever happen to a man. And I'm just,
That guy was scary.
you know, like I said it on the first podcast. If that just happened to me, I'd put the gun to my head. Like, nope, I'm done. I'm done with life. Like, I can't come back from this.
That was like
So,
fighting a Minotaur. In
Yes.
version. Like,
Yeah.
that guy
Yes.
was nonstop.
that man was not
Jeez.
human, and I was just, yeah, I really enjoyed this one, even if I had a problem with the ending, because I don't think I understood the ending is my biggest problem. So, but yep, it's my number 4.
I had to give my number 4 to a better killer, and his name is John Wick. John Wick Chapter 4. This kind of like what you guys said. It's Chapter 4, but it was one of the best. John Wick and Donnie Yen's character, their dynamic was so fun throughout the whole movie. Donnie Yen in this movie was awesome and just funny. I even liked the new character, the guy and his dog. I don't remember their name.
Oh yeah, I forgot
I
about
think
them.
he's just called the Hunter or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a name.
I thought he was pretty cool. I thought he did a good job. And then you got an adorable Doge with him. But yeah, it does what John Wick movies are supposed to do. It's just action, and you just like, man, I want to be a cool dude, and just go beat up other cool dudes. So
Cool. So we have reached our top 3. So for my number 3, I have Tetris.
Oh,
'cause that
dang.
movie was enjoyable and I loved it. Again, Nintendo fanboy, so right up my alley.
when you see that Game Boy, you're just like, oh,
Yeah, when they got that Game Boy, the developmental one, it's like, so yeah, I did see Air 2. These movies are very similar, but I thought Tetris just because it touches on a story that's not really known as much as like Michael Jordan's Air shoes. So this was really fun because it didn't seem like it was that huge of a budget. It was just all on this idea about the Game Boy development. And it was funny. And like Jared said, the bromance was amazing. The best bromance of the year. I love that movie. And it's like one of the rare movies we all saw together.
Mm,
So
I didn't.
you weren't there?
No,
You were there.
that was during school, dude. Like I had no time.
You were there for Extraction too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that
That's
was my
not
number
on anyone's
3.
list, I hope.
darn it.
Number 1, dang it.
Number 1.
Okay, Michael, number
yeah.
3.
My number 3 is a super surprise, and I was almost didn't even go see the movie because we had the weird like rush plans. Like, hey, Joseph was like, if you guys can candy or not, whatever. But Iron Claw, man, holy cow, that movie was just out of the blue for me. It's so good. And like I said when we were reviewing it, I was like, you get halfway through, you're like, this is really good, really well done. I'm enjoying it. And then you're like, oh God. And then it just bashes you with emotion and so much pain. And you're like,
like a chair.
What?
Like a steel chair.
Yeah. So yeah, super surprising, excellent performances all around from everyone. Lily James has my heart. Everyone knows that. But yeah, excellent movie.
She always plays a Southerner.
True.
Jonah, what's your number 3?
my 3 is Boy and the Heron, and this is one of those that feels less like a story, more just you experience kind of the movie, like Spirited Away and stuff. Other Miyazaki films, kind of. Like Michael said, like the animation is like so good, it's almost overwhelming. Just how much detail he puts into one film. Like I was just kind of sitting there, just each shot, just like, God, that's beautiful, kind of to every shot that goes by in the movie. It does slow down a little. I think the ending could have been trimmed a little bit. It could have stopped a little earlier in the film, but still, like a lot of his other films, it's just amazing, and it's nice to see a hand-drawn animated film in theaters again. So yeah,
But if he says he's gonna retire and then comes out of retirement one more time,
he already
I
did.
swear.
He's already making another one. So
Thomas, number 3.
My number 3 is Oppenheimer. Again, this one I think was originally was kind of a disappointment for me because I was expecting something else out of it. But when I read the book that Nolan based this on, I was like, huh, okay, I think I understand what he's trying to do with this. The amount of world change that came out of like this event is like you can't underrepresent how much this changed the world. And I don't think I quite got that the first time around, but having looked into the matter more, I appreciate what the film was trying to get across. And I mean, Nolan's just great as always, and the performances from Robert Downey Jr. I think specifically Robert Downey Jr. for me was probably the best part of the movie. Even though Cillian Murphy's great, but I think RDJ was just something that we really hadn't seen in a long time, is him being a villain, and he did a really great job. So yeah, Jared.
My number 3 is the Super Mario movie. Growing up playing Mario games, and then you get this terrible one with John Leguizamo, and you're just like,
Terrible. I think you
happened?
mean underrated.
I do like that movie, but it wasn't a Mario movie. It's just, well, it did give us Mario 64 jumping into the thing, but this was finally getting your Mario movie, and then all the little Easter eggs and references throughout the movie are awesome. Seeing a herd of Yoshis on the big screen was really cool. And I think everyone did a good job with their character, except for Cranky Kong. I don't know what
Yeah.
they were doing with
I
that.
don't either.
But hearing all the backlash with Chris Pratt before the movie, and then actually seeing it, and you're like, hey, he did a good job.
Great job.
And then seeing Jack Black as Bowser, it just was like, duh. And then you get the
Peaches.
you get Peaches after that, and it's just a huge phenomenon. But yeah, it was great. Loved seeing this movie.
Yeah, but real fast before we move on, the scene we were watching that I jumped into while we were in Colorado, because I'd seen the beginning and end so many times whenever they had it on, that I came in and I watched the scene where Mario and Donkey Kong fight for the first time in that little arena. And it's just like all the Easter eggs, all how everything plays out. I'm like, this is just brilliant, man. It's so good. So good.
Shout outs to that King Penguin. Adorable.
True.
All right. So we are at number 2. And my number 2 is Oppenheimer. So like Thomas said, I was surprised that a Nolan film wasn't my number 1. This movie, I didn't have much problems with it. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't reach the height of other Nolan movies. I love the bomb building, but like Thomas said, I love Robert Downey Jr.'s part at the end, because he kind of takes over for the second half, and he deserves an Oscar for this movie. I hope he gets it. But yeah, it's got that Nolan kind of intensity and those super cuts like Geraldine was talking about. He likes to do the fast cuts. And like Jonas said, that bomb scene was one you had to see in theaters. So that was my number 2. So Michael, number 2.
My number 2 blew my mind when I realized it came out this year. Spider-Man, the second one, Spider-Verse, whatever the heck it's called. Is it Into the Spider-Verse?
Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Like when I heard that was this year, my mind was it just flattened. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But yeah, I remember coming out of that movie and I was just like, "That's a freaking movie right there!" Like that's the kind of enjoyment, blockbustery kind of fun adventure, but also serious emotion, great characters. The animation, of course, is incredible. As the last one, I freaking loved that movie. So yeah, it just blew my mind. It was this year though. I was like, "What?"
Well,
What?
Spider-Man is also on your game list, so
True. And they both got
Look
number 2.
look for that. Game countdown coming soon. Jonah, what was your number 2?
Exact same Spider-Man. 'Cause,
Really?
yeah, this I just went into it thinking like, there's no way they could have surpassed the first movie at all, and somehow they went even farther with it. How good it was and the story and everything. This is probably the best made movie of the year. I like number one a little more. It was very hard to pick number 1 and 2 between this and my number 1. But yeah, this film blew me away. Like, I call Boy in the Heron overwhelming, but this film really was. Like, it came out of theater just like, I don't know what to think about now. And this is the one that probably stuck with me the most this year because, like, even a month after seeing it, I was just like, man, that was good, kind of. And yeah, I absolutely love this film. So yeah,
Cool. Thomas.
So my number 2 is also Spider-Man.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, this movie was fantastic. I will say that actually this was originally I really didn't enjoy it as much when I first saw it, mostly because we had a terrible IMAX experience. I don't know what's going on with our IMAX. I probably won't ever really see another movie there again if I don't really have a choice. But I did go see it with my younger brother in a regular movie theater, and I came out like, okay, no, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed this one. Just the art style in this is fantastic. Just the for each character have to have their own unique art style is great. Weirdly enough, though, for this one, I actually didn't enjoy the soundtrack as much, but I enjoyed the score.
Yeah.
They have a separate score from this one. The score for this is amazing. But the soundtrack I actually get kind of annoyed with because they have these really good songs, but they have this. But Metro Boom has like this stupid audio signature with every song. Like you're getting into like this really cool vibe, and he goes, I'm like, stop for God's sake! Like every song he has that. I'm just like, stop it. But this movie was amazing, and I am hoping we get a third one because there's been some maybe ifs, ands, or buts about this one. Most because of the writer strike. We thought we were going to get it way earlier, and the amount of work that these artists do is just nuts. Like I know that they had some labor issues last time, and so I don't know.
Yeah.
How
So you
it's
guys are
gonna-
all excited for Madam Web, I hear.
yeah.
Number 1 movie next year.
Yeah, number 1 hit or this year, Michael. This year, January 1st.
Oh, right. Yeah. Happy New Year.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse is just fantastic, and I wish I could relive that first part of about the end credits, and I love that song particularly, but I hate the soundtrack because it's stupid audio signature with every single one. But just that feeling of like the bottom kind of just drops out, and you're just like, well, crap. How are they going to get out of this one, guys? So
Tune in next time.
yeah, tune in next time for the Adventures of Spider-Man.
All
So, yeah,
right.
number 2.
I'm glad you brought up the score because I forgot about that.
Well, yeah, especially when the 2099 soundtrack or the score for 2099 is from the original Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon,
Oh, really?
which is awesome because that was like one of my favorite cartoons as a kid. And that Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon suit was based on 2099's suit. All right, that's it. What we got?
All right, on my number 2, I'm going to cheat a little because it just came out in America in 2023. Is Talk to Me.
Mm.
Oh,
That
we're
was on my
really
list for a
cheating.
minute, but
This is probably one of the most competent horror movies in the past few years. Super surprised by it. Great performances by everyone, and they're pretty young too, so I was very surprised by that. Usually when you have young people, you're just rolling your eyes or just like, God, they're annoying. But fantastic job, especially since these guys started off on YouTube. It's great to see them get the recognition they kind of deserve. It was just all around a great surprise.
All right, so we have reached the top, the number one movie of the year. And my number one movie of the year probably won't surprise anyone. It's Godzilla -1. The King came back in a new origin story, and I was all for it. It's just such a great story. Just the human drama, for the first time surpassed the actual monster drama on a Godzilla movie. I love the characters. Everyone points out that it's very Japanese acting, but I loved it. I mean, if you could do some American acting like that, I'd be fine with it. The music was fantastic. They really did a great job with his theme song. And it just like you're humming it when you come out of the theater. It was I think the only movie I saw in theaters where people clapped at the end. They
saw a
tried to
couple.
they
Yeah.
tried to clap after the Marvels, but no one was having it.
Someone they paid to go sit in their sort like,
Yeah.
yeah, guys, yeah. Still haven't seen that movie.
I was gonna say who went to go see the Marvels. So
It's my number one,
Oh
guys.
my God.
Spoilers.
So since we've started reviewing movies, I haven't really rewatched movies in the theaters a lot, but this was one where I definitely had to go back and watch it again because
Yeah, because you
Had
need
to-
that platinum.
I had to experience it on a big screen because that's where it
Sure.
should be. So
Sure.
loved it, loved every minute of it, even the end, even that crazy ending. But yeah, that's my number one.
Number one. Mine is actually Oppenheimer, but it's an interesting choice for me because it's like it's definitely not my favorite movie of the year. And it's probably a movie I will never watch again. Like I don't ever have any interest in watching that movie again. But it's like it was so well done, like you guys are saying. And like I agree with Jonah, like I expected that line, and I have become death. I thought that was gonna be it, and then credits was gonna hit. I thought this was gonna be, but I feel like it was important to have that post thing, even if it was kind of like the slope of the movie. But I don't know, like the acting is so incredible, like you guys mentioned. The shots so incredible. It's just like he is a hard person to top, and that's the movie that after watching it, it just kept coming back to mind, kept coming back to my mind, kept coming back to mind. Just never really left. But yeah, a very, 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 very good movie. But yeah, that's it.
All right, Jonah, what was your number one?
Obviously, it's Godzilla. You said pretty much everything that needs to be said. Just that story is amazing in this film. It's by far the best human story in a Godzilla movie ever. The characters are great, the actors, the music. I love the cinematography in this movie also. They're shot really well. And yeah, it's just perfect. Pretty much, in my opinion, it was pretty much a perfect Godzilla movie.
I think it was the only perfect movie this year, I would say. For me, anyway.
Yeah,
Everything else I have problems with, but this one I did not.
I'd say this and Spider-Verse for me were pretty close to perfect, but this one just surpassed it a little bit.
Cool.
So yeah,
She got blue man.
Thomas?
Okay. Even my microphone's blue. So my number one is the Iron Claw. This movie, I don't know, like I can't stop thinking about this movie, to be honest with you, and I'm thinking about going again and seeing it. But I kind of want to take my brother, but I also don't want to at the same time because I don't know how.
You don't want to cry in front of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I almost cried in front of you guys, but this movie is just amazing. And again, I think part of it is I didn't know what to expect out of this, and just and again, I've done some more research about these guys, and just the tragedy that this family went through is just I can't even imagine getting up in the morning having experienced all this stuff. And the fact that, like, man, Zac Efron, if he doesn't get at least nominated, that's a tragedy right there, because he was incredible. And the fact that these guys got this big to do it, because I mean, Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White aren't big guys, really. I mean, they're
He's always been
fairly.
shredded, but yeah, he's not that. He's never been like.
Well, he's been
the Hulk.
lean. Yeah,
They bolt.
yeah, but
He looks like a caveman or something.
yeah,
It's
like,
crazy.
the amount of muscle that Zac Efron put on himself is just insane, and I was just blown away at how good this movie was. So that's my number one.
Ooh, Jared.
All right. So my number one, obviously, is Godzilla -1. Growing up with Godzilla, just like my brothers, we've been watching it since little boys. Seeing this one, it kind of blew my mind how good it was. The story, like they said, the story was great, even though Godzilla is not known for like the human story. This one had so much heart, had a great message, and then also the Godzilla part, it was fantastic. Seeing that atomic breath at that scale was insane. The music, whenever his theme song comes on, always gives me chills, especially in the theaters. You're just like, my gosh. And I don't know. This is the Godzilla movie for me. Like I've seen most of them, and this one just takes it by far. It's just the perfect movie.
That's impressive. Just like 30 films, and you
Yeah.
usually find the best one at like 32 or something like
And
that.
then we got like the American ones not too long ago, and you're like, wow, those are cool. And it has like all the monsters, but this one just like knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it's like they saw the American ones and they're like, we gotta
We gotta reclaim
our game.
Yeah. All right. So that was our top 10 list. What would be your guys' number 11? Because for me, I struggled to keep Mission Impossible and Guardians off the list. So that would be my number 11, was those two movies.
I do want to. This wouldn't be my number 11, but I do want to shout out "Sound of Freedom" again, the child trafficking movie. Just because, like, as a movie itself, it's not like in the class of these, but what it's telling is way more important than any of these. But
Yeah, it's on Amazon now. So
I
you
did
can finally watch it.
shout that one out again. But number 11.
What was the hardest thing to keep off the list?
I'm trying to remember what was in the top 3 at the end. It was definitely Suzume, Mario, and then I think I had one more that was fighting for 10.
I had John Wick, Guardians, and Talk to Me that I had to leave out.
Definitely
Talk to Me was amazing. I will say that.
It's excellent.
And mostly what Jared was pointing out was just the kind of the origins of this, how cheaply they made it, and just they basically are self-taught, which is awesome.
And of just how well it was done. Just like every sequence leading up to everything, and like that first real horror scene, you're just like, man, that still sticks in my mind. Like almost like perfectly plays in my mind because of how well it was done.
Well, it's just the amount of competency that these guys had for a first time out. It's just, yeah.
Definitely Guardians for me. This one it was a good ending for the series. It had a ton of heart with those little animals, and then you feel for those little animals. You're just like, dang. They get roboticized, and you're just like, man, why are people always trying to robify animals? But yeah, Guardians.
It was a good movie. It just like Marvel's just been so downer lately. It's just like, is this even as good as other earlier Marvel movies?
Also, the soundtrack was definitely the weakest. The first two, I mean, you listen to those like throughout the day, like throughout the year, and then this one was just like, yeah, and this one you're just like, yeah, that's cool.
I think it might have been made the list maybe if Peter Quill would have died.
Everybody thought he was going to.
Like, yeah, because it seems like so much they were setting that up, and it just ended kind of on a happy note. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it was almost my number 10 too. And again, like you said, just because there's a Marvel movie, I kind of wanted to keep it off. The rest of the Marvel movies this year.
Get better, Marvel.
Yeah, not the greatest way to go out on Phase 4, but
All right,
I
so
don't really see much hope for Phase 5, to be honest.
They got no villain now.
No,
He just got arrested.
yeah, but say he's got arrested.
all right. So we've seen all our lists. Is there anyone, for example, me and Jared don't have Spider-Man on our list? Would you guys? Well, how would you guys? Is that the movie you guys would try to persuade us to put on our list if we had to do it
Yes.
again?
The most. I feel like that's the obvious answer, right? I just deleted
I
my
think
list. I don't have my
so.
list anymore. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that should have been on your list. You both messed up. I apologize.
You also haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet, so
Yeah, we haven't
Oh, I
seen
forgot
that.
about
The runtime
yeah.
of that movie is really what's holding it back.
that. Yeah.
see, I don't
Yeah.
like for
If
like
it's a-
Scorsese
I was about to
movies.
say, if
I
it's a
don't care.
Scorsese movie, I'm okay with it. If it's anyone else,
Close.
then I question it.
Because I didn't like The
I'm sorry.
Irishman, so
I
I
love
wasn't
The
really
Irishman.
looking
I
forward
did
to
too,
this
but
one
it's
at
also
all.
nothing like The Irishman. Well,
Well,
I guess you could say it has similar tone, like similar character tones, but
yeah, but
story wise,
I love Irishman, and I actually love the runtime for it. I liked that, but I'm wanting him to do another religious movie like
do a Marvel movie.
Silence.
A Marvel movie.
Daredevil.
Deadpool 3.
Dude, Daredevil would actually be pretty cool to
That
see
would be
Yeah.
very
Scorsese.
interesting.
Kinda.
With the amount of Catholic guilt that Martin Scorsese already has, to make a movie literally about that would be just fantastic. Because like, if he did another movie like Silence, I would be so
Oh my
happy.
God, that movie is
'Cause
so good.
Because Silence is, I think, probably his best movie he's ever done, and that's including Goodfellas and Departed and all that. But man, that movie's amazing.
That movie is astounding.
So I think for me, Jared kind of ruined Spider-Man.
Jared ruined Spider-Man.
Yeah,
What'd you
because he
do?
pointed out he was like the first one on YouTube to point out that Peter Parker acts very out of character in this movie. And it's just
Oh.
not one Peter Parker, it's like a whole mass of Peter Parkers. And it's just like that characterization of Peter Parker just kind of ruined it for me.
Kind of ruined all the Peters, and it was just it highlighted Miles, which I do love Miles, but it really brought down the Peters.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of a trend going on because, like, what I've heard from the Spider-Man game, they keep kind of trying to down Peter Parker for some reason, and I'm not for that because I love Peter Parker.
But
I
it
think that
was
was-
definitely awesome seeing 2099 because that's a huge
Yeah.
favorite of mine.
Same.
Yeah, and I hope they do his character well in the third one. The third one scares the heck out of me just because I hope they do him justice. And I also hope they don't do what I think they're going to do with Miles.
Probably the
They-
biggest plus of that movie, though, is the characterization of the Spot because
The
he's just a
Spot.
throwaway
Dude,
character
he's so
normally.
cool.
Yeah.
And Jason Schwartzman's amazing as the Spot. I'm
As
sorry.
a villain in general, he's
Yeah.
awesome.
But no, I
Yeah.
do agree. I didn't like the Peter part of that, especially when they're kind of gearing up to go like rescue Miles. Like, spoiler, by the way. He was still in the pink what do you call it? Robe? I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
come on.
that
Like,
was a
come on,
big disappointment. Yeah.
Spider-Man up and like let's get this like,
Put down the baby and
yeah,
let's
put down the
go.
baby and Spider-Man. Like, let's do that. But that was my one complaint I did have about that.
Yeah, that could have probably changed the whole movie for me if he would have just put down the baby.
It didn't really bother
Right,
me
right.
because they do frame it as it's like the biggest thing Peter's ever gone up against, and they kind of like frame it as if you don't do this, then basically the universe just ends. So they kind of have to stick to it. And the one with the pink robe, I can definitely see doing this, but the other Peters, yeah,
yeah.
it's a little weird.
It's
But
like-
it didn't bother me at all.
Like Jared pointed out, Peter is not a team player. He's never really been a team player. He'll go against the team to do what he feels is right.
Done that
Um,
with Avengers.
He'll make deals with the devil just for Aunt May.
Yeah. Plus the visuals were too mushy, I thought. Everything kind of just mushed together.
There was a thing about that though, that they did have problems with that on the first release, because I did see that, and because that was a complaint, was the audio was trash and then the visuals were too blurry. But then I went to go see it again with my brother, and I think they fixed it. I think Michael talked about that, is that when they originally released it, it was like
I know that she
not
fixed
what-
the audio.
yeah, it wasn't supposed to be the way that was supposed to be, and so
Another
having seen
key
it
point
again,
was-
it was way better.
It's
For me,
weird.
I just wish they kind of made the worlds different, more
Mm.
like did more to make them look different than.
I thought they did excellent with that, but it's weird. I didn't notice any of the technical problems when I saw it, and I only saw it once in theaters. So it's weird that I didn't pick up on that, but everyone else did.
Yeah, it was just the audio in the beginning for me that I was like, oh, that was really a little difficult to hear. But
Another huge
also,
point
our
was
IMAX
what.
is,
Yeah, it is pretty bad.
I haven't
Yeah.
gone in like 6 months.
Another
good
big point
reason.
was that what Thomas brought up was the soundtrack, because the first one, you have some
Oh,
really good
God.
ones. Like
Dude.
Sunflower was one of the biggest songs of that year.
Dude, what's up,
And
Danger?
then What's Up
That-
Danger is
that
your
is like-
go-to gym
that's
song.
like-
So
that's my workout song.
so hearing this one, there were some good songs, but it wasn't like they don't go on your gym playlist.
What's funny is that the only one that is like the one that I really like, that Mona Lisa song, that's not even on the soundtrack. That's a separate that's like by the artist. He didn't put it on the soundtrack because I
Hmm.
don't think it's Metro. Well, it's the only one that's not Metro.
And then for us, if we could put something on your list, Jonah, did you have Tetris on your list?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Did
You
you guys
said-
have Tetris?
I did not.
I didn't.
Okay.
I
I
haven't seen
Can't
it.
see it.
I would tell Michael and Thomas to put Tetris on their list.
That's not fair. I haven't seen it.
Well,
Go
go
watch
see
it.
I didn't say
Go
put
watch
Killers
it.
of the Flower Moon on yours.
Yeah, you did. You said we had to see it.
I said I had to
Um,
see it. Don't put it on there. Put Spider-Man on there, you maniac.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man on there.
Put Spider-Man on there.
But
Right.
I've been recommending Tetris to like a lot of people, including like Chris and stuff like that. And I tell them every week, go watch Tetris.
every week.
You walk in the morning at work. Hey, go watch Tetris.
Mhm.
Hey,
I'll just text
watch
him. Have you watched
Tetris.
Tetris yet?
Have you watched Tetris yet?
All right. So that is our top 10 movies for 2023. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff to come in 2024. Gonna be a busy time again for us, so you're gonna want to catch all that goodness. Any last words, guys?
None of us had Barbie. What do you
None
know?
of us had
What's
Barbie.
that Barbie?
We tried hard to get Jonah to watch Barbie with us, but he would not do it, so we didn't watch it.
It's a man of principle right there.
Last words?
Don't know.
Nope.
Don't know.
All right. So we'll
nothing.
see you next time.
Brr.
Recording